All right, guys, are you ready for another super aggressive, tactical, attacking pattern that every decent chess player should know and be looking out for all the time? It's the last game I played, just thought I'd share it with you. I've got the white pieces. This is a 10-minute rapid game. I've had a complete horrible slide. Actually dipped below 1400 earlier on today and then came back with like four in a row. Anyway, so we've got e4, e5, and I go for the centre game, or Danish, and we have pawn takes. Now I bring out my bishop, when in actual fact the move I should have played is c3 for some reason. Don't know why I did that. Anyway, so my opponent plays d6, and I come out with my knight. I've now got two attackers on this pawn, so it's not going to live forever. I capture the pawn, black captures, queen recaptures. All right. So now I've got, fairly comfortable position. I've got queen and bishop out in the board. We have f6, and now I decide to push my queen forward. There's a vague threat of checkmate. It's easily stoppable as long as you notice it. The queen has to come to d7 or e7, and in the game, the queen goes to e7. Now the knight comes out, so the knight's got ideas of maybe coming around here. We have c6, kicking the queen away, and I bring my queen across now to h5. Now, the point of this is that there's only a couple of things that black can do. It can interpose the queen, okay, in which case we can capture, and then king is forced to recapture, king can't castle, okay. He can move the king, which means king can't castle, or he can push g6. So what he does is he pushes g6. Now I figure that this is just slightly weakening for black's position, and my queen's got lots of scope. So my queen drops back to e2. We have the bishop coming out. Bishops are facing off, but my queen is defending this bishop in case black wants to exchange. Black doesn't exchange, and instead castles long. You can see how, because of all these pawns are slightly forward, there is a little bit of fresh air in black's position around his king, whereas my king is nice and snug here with its rook. Okay. And now I drop my bishop back to d3. What's the point of that move? I guess I'm just protecting my bishop. So now I'm thinking I really want to be targeting, this side of the board. When you castle queen side, the king isn't automatically defending the pawn on the edge of the board like it is when you castle king side. So we have bishop g7. And I bring out my bishop to e3, so it's got ideas of grabbing that pawn if black fails to note it. Where it's obviously got ideas of capturing this pawn if black fails to notice. Black does notice. However, this now starts to set up my evil plan, okay? Because the king has moved off of c8, which is a light square, onto b8, which is a dark square. Okay, if this bishop were ever to capture that pawn, it would come with check. Now, so that's point number one. Point number two, black's queen is in line with my queen. Point number three, black's queen is not defended. Actually, black's queen is defended. All right, it's defended by this knight. So here's where the plan starts to hatch, okay? So the idea is, if I can get rid of this knight through any way, okay, and get rid of this pawn, right? I could have, and the bishop has to move, right? But this is, you're just spotting the pattern, right? You've got bishop takes pawn, check, okay, and then queen takes queen. That's the idea. I actually saw Levy from Gotham Chess. He pulled out of a similar kind of attack the other day, winning the queen. So I've been looking for an opportunity to do it. So anyway, I push a4 now, and we have, there we go. So that's one thing out of the way. My pawn captures on d5. Bishop captures. I capture the bishop, okay? And this plan is now firmly in my mind. I'm expecting rook captures. Pawn captures would just open up the king too much. Okay, so we've got rook captures, and now it's time. Right, so the next move, bishop c4, hitting the rook, but actually targeting the knight behind the rook. Okay, so now he could have moved here, and he could have moved here, both of which squares would have actually defended the queen. In fact, this would have completely prevented my idea. Well, I'd have lost my bishop. Anyway, I'd then have to move my queen. Okay, in the game, he drops his bishop, his rook all the way back to d8, and then I just do a quick double check. Bishop takes g8. Okay, and at this point, my opponent actually abandons the game because he can see what's coming. Okay, if either of these rooks capture the bishop, then I've got bishop takes a7, king's in check, so the king either has to capture the bishop or move, in which case we've got queen takes queen, effectively winning the game. So there you go. This is a pattern to look out for. Okay, what's the pattern? Well, you've got queens in line. I mean, this could be a rook as well. You know, the attacking piece could be a rook. You've got very often a bishop, or nearly always a bishop, I should imagine, that's in a position to capture with check and sacrifice itself with check. Okay, then as long as you can clear everything else out of the way, the move is on. All right. So just when you're playing, be watching out for this kind of position. Okay, because it's if you ever see your opponent's queen in line and undefended, then you know it should be popping into your mind. Queen in this case was defended, so we had to come up with a plan to remove that defender and then execute the tactic. So there you go. One more for you guys to watch out for when you're playing. Hopefully you'll be able to pull this out every now and again, because it is beautiful when you get it. All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'll see you later.